What up, what up? This is Ray Grand, your host, and you're listening to The Ray Grand Show, where we talk about redefining a disability and overcoming. I've been paralyzed from 22 years from bacterial spinal meningitis. I know a few things. That's right. Thank you for listening, and let's get to it. Good day, people. This is the Ray Grand Show. This is Ray Grand, your host. We have a special guest, my brother, Alex Grandoit, the jet setter, the restaurant enthusiast, the man who loves to have fun, Mr. Debonair, the man of God, the adventurous, love to skydive, ATVs, swimming, doing all the whole nine, coming out of planes. Alex Grandoit, how are you, my brother?
My brother from the same mother. That was a great introduction. I appreciate that.
Hey, listen, man, I've been watching you since a child, and I've been seeing the great things that you have inside of you, your energy and having fun. It's wonderful.
One life to live.
This interview is going to probably be one of my top-rated videos of all time.
We'll see. We'll see.
How you doing, Mr. Grandoit?
You know, quarantining a little bit and just, staying safe. There's a lot going on in the world today. So just trying to be as safe as possible. But otherwise, I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored. You know how
Mr. Ray Grand himself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. So, yeah, Alex, who is Alex Grandoit? Let's get into it. Because I remember growing up, as children, me, running around, you running around, us playing basketball, staying fresh with the freshest threads. Shout out to Threads as well. I know you are a great supporter, as me as well. I haven't been there for a while. However, shout out to Junior. What gets Alex so excited and so happy to live life? Because that's something that you definitely are known for is being positive and living life. So who is Alex Grandoit?
Well, I like to call myself a regular smuggler. There's not too much about me that, I don't that I keep to myself. Pretty much an open book. Just a cop in Atlanta, got a job like everybody else. Love to work. Love to get back to my community in a lot of different ways, at work and outside of work. I do like to have fun. I do like to have my fun. I love to travel, love to eat out. I don't party as much as I used to, so I'm not really on the party scene. So I live vicariously through, social media, because social media brings us a lot closer. If you want to go to church, you go on someone's page who follows gospel, posts up on gospel.
That's true.
You want to be in the club, you go to one of your promoters' pages, and you just pretty much can really see everything that's going on in the world. And we see that now with being able to just be at home, and you got a lot of DJs just going live and having these big, huge parties. DJ Nice, D-Nice, they had over 100,000 people in his room listening to him and partying with him. So outside of that, I'm just me, man. If you know me is to love me. I try to keep the peace and keep it as positive as possible.
So speaking of keeping the peace, how is it in the streets of Atlanta being a police officer? How is that process, especially like with the police brutality and you being an African American brown man? Like how does that transition? How do you deal with that process? How people view the police and how you are a police officer and still protecting us in the street, and the stigma of certain police officers in this country.
Well, I've been on both sides of the fence. Growing up in Mattapan, late teens, early 20s, I had several run-ins with the police. Not all good. Those interactions honestly have helped me with my job now. I know just how to talk to people because at the end of the day, it's a conversation. Unfortunately, yes, I am a cop, so yes, I deal with criminals and people who are doing the wrong thing, and sometimes they got to take that ride, and in some cases they don't. A lot of times, and even with myself dealing with the police, a lot of people don't understand. You don't have to escalate a situation. At the end of the day, a good officer is going to just do his job so he can go home. But a lot of times people tend to try to give us attitudes and they think they know it all. And it escalates things. I lost count of the number of times where, I had to take that extra step to just talk to someone and bring them down
Yeah.
to the point where, they don't cross the line. Because it's so easy to go to jail. It's very, very easy. Pretty much go to jail for anything. You start yelling and screaming. You got disorderly conduct charges, or disturbing the peace, or whatever, wherever you are. So it's just conversation for me. That's how I deal with it. I've dealt with people who don't want to talk to me. Because I'm a cop, I'm in uniform. And, it's like, I try to get to the bottom of it. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I know you see this uniform, but I'm here to help you. Or if we got something going on, I need information from you. I need you to talk to me. Come to find out, one situation, there was a guy who was responding to a domestic violence call. And I needed him to tell me what he saw. And he would not talk to us. And come to find out, a year ago, his sister got killed by a police officer. So those situations, it's like, you just try to be compassionate with people. And, it's case by case, situation by situation. There's a lot of things that we see on TV in the past that is just upfront, just wrong.
Yeah.
I have to say that in my 8 years, there has not been many situations that I had to question another officer. But does police brutality, is it a real thing? Absolutely. But in the end result, if we can just close the gap between the relationship between the community and police, ultimately, we can have a better community and relationship, because it's a very, very important relationship that I feel that has been, I don't want to use the word shattered, but it's been interrupted with a lot of things going on in the media throughout the years. Obviously, right now, we got a lot going on. So this will definitely change the way we police. But I'll tell you what doesn't stop, criminals. People are still going to be out here doing what they do. So we'll see how in the next few weeks, how we as a community handle it. So
That's good. That's good. So I have a question. It's somewhat like a legal question. So say, hypothetically speaking, someone gets pulled over and then you ask them for their license and registration, and then they say to you, "I do not answer any questions." How would you handle that situation?
Well, so I'll tell you a story, and like I said, every situation is going to be different, right? Because, why did I initiate the traffic stop? So that's going to be the first question that I ask myself. How important is it that I identify the driver, et cetera, et cetera? But with a traffic stop, yes, the driver is supposed to give me their driver's license. And in the state of Georgia, we don't necessarily need registration. We more so need proof of insurance. So in the case where a driver is not obeying my lawful commands, that point, you know, I may have obstruction charges. Now, how I handle that, that's going to be a case by case scenario. You know, there'll be a situation where I feel like I can't let this person go. You know, if it's an old lady, or maybe I might not be as prone to dig for more information versus if it was someone who was driving recklessly all over the road, and almost hit someone on a bicycle that was crossing a crosswalk or something like that. So every scenario is different. I've had several very scary situations like that. The story I was going to tell you is I pulled over a white pickup truck. I work overnight, so it was probably, I don't know, 1 a.m. Pulled the truck over. I can't remember the traffic violation, but the driver did not want to cooperate. I don't know if you heard the term of sovereign citizens.
Yes.
But they pretty much, they make their own rules up. So he tried to explain to me that he did not need to give me his driver's license, did not need to identify himself, that he was just traveling from one point to another point. I made up some whole bogus story. I insisted, I got a gift for gab. That's not a secret. I can be very, smooth. Surprisingly, I was able to talk him into giving me his driver's license, which he did. It did not roll his window all the way. Gave me a lot of pushback. Now, I didn't write him a ticket. I got out of that traffic stop as quick and safe as possible. So, every traffic stop is different. Every interaction I have with someone's different. It's my job is not an easy job at all. But I don't know if I answered your question. But with that said, when you are stopped by the police, I could tell you, with me personally, yes, I do still get pulled over. Growing up, I've always had a need for speed, so I've been pulled over well over 100 times. The best thing you can do is have your driver's license ready for that officer. Roll down all your windows, whether you have tints or no tints. Roll them down, especially if you have tints, and just cooperate. I usually don't speak to the officer. I'll let the officer speak to me. Sir, I pulled you over for this or that. May I have your driver's license? If I try my best to talk out of it, yes, I've gotten a speeding ticket as a police officer. I've gotten out of tickets as a police officer and prior to being a police officer, just by being nice and polite. You will come across officers who, unfortunately, are rude, arrogant, but the best thing you can do is to just continue to be polite and deal with it after. If you have to file a complaint or whatever it is you have to do, deal with it after. Don't get into a shouting match or anything like that with that cop, because unfortunately, at that given moment, he has the upper hand and will win.
And that's what I was mostly doing my best to understand. So let's say So you have to give the license and depending on the state, the license and the proof of insurance. So my question is, well, let me just state it out point blank. When is it? So is it possible where you can just use the Fifth Amendment, meaning that you don't answer any questions? However, you listen to the officer, you give him what he asked for, but you use your Fifth Amendment so you do not incriminate yourself.
If I'm standing outside of my home or I'm walking and, or officers just patrolling and attempts to stop me and talk to me, I don't have to talk to that officer.
And that's my point. That's my point.
Yeah. I don't have to stop. I don't have to talk to him if he's not stopping me for anything, illegal. But I always tell people, you never know what is going on. Even when you leave your house and you see a vehicle, well, a police car with lights and sirens, for example, sometimes I may stop at a light and I'm rushing to get to go back up another officer or get to an important call, but it's not a call that I need to go lights and sirens the whole way, but I need to get there quickly. So I may go through the light with my lights and sirens, and the car next to me be like, oh, all them officers, that's all they do is just take red lights. And, they always, he didn't need to, he's in no rush. He's probably going to get a donut. But in reality, you don't know where I'm going. So if I'm stopping you, chances are you don't know why I'm stopping you. Every state, every community is different. The laws vary all across the board. So it can get a little tricky. Me personally, when I'm out of uniform, I don't like to deal with the police. That's just me, and I see a police officer, I'm going the other way. I just stay, nowadays I drive a lot safer, so I don't have to deal with getting pulled over and, that whole mess.
And so it sounds to me like, so based off what you said, so yeah, so you party less and you say you don't speed as much, so you definitely go into a transition in life. You're also engaged, so you definitely are growing as a person, as I see personally, as we discuss. So let's go a little bit more personal. There's several questions I want to ask you, but let's begin. Let's begin here.
Ask away, Ray. That's
yeah,
why we here.
yeah. There's several questions, so I'm gonna state it like this, and based off my personal perception, you can agree or disagree. But for me, being the younger child, the younger child tends to get more attention due to the fact because he's could be more vulnerable. And I think that happened in my case. And then when I became paralyzed at 14 years old, it's almost like, my world stopped. And then my world stopped, my mother and my dad world stopped. So for me, when I went through therapy and certain things, I realized from your perspective, potentially, I feel that not only did you kind of lose a mother and a father because all the attention went on me, and then also you lost a part of your brother, meaning in a sense of I lost my legs and was able not to function. So I'm in this new world figuring it out. So I don't even know where I'm at, what I'm doing, who I am, all these different things. And as you as a person kind of like left alone almost, like where's your support? And as I'm older, I can see that, but when I was in it, I didn't recognize that. So is that fair to say? And like, how did that make you feel to go through that process of one, seeing your brother go through that, near death experience, and then two, not really having the support of your parents, in my personal opinion, if that's correct?
Well, loaded question. I'm not even sure if we've ever talked about this. So when you got paralyzed, I just had turned 16 years old. And I was going into my sophomore year in high school. You was coming to Cathedral as a freshman, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I was actually very excited that we were going to the same school for two reasons. Number one, you was always a better student than I was, right? So I was going to use that to push me to work harder. And the second reason was I was really looking forward for us to play basketball on the same team in high school. That's because, you know, we both were ballers. We both played ball. I think we both were pretty decent. We both were good players. So that's, you know, I was really looking forward to that. So when you got paralyzed, it shattered my world. It shattered our family. The transition was not an easy one. And I mean, I don't want to say I got left in the dark, but the focus was you. And I remember when you got to Spalding, someone said to me, like, "Damn, Alex, yo, I feel bad for you. Everyone's here for Ray. Everyone's thinking about Ray, and Ray's sick, but ain't no one really checking for you." It was at that point I actually a job at Foot Locker became available, and I started working. And you know, I just continued to try to remain focused and out of trouble. And you know, I want to say, you know, our parents did the best that they could possibly do. And they really, you know, at a young age instilled common sense, and just certain characteristics that I picked up young that helped me during that time. I made some knucklehead decisions as a teenager, but I didn't get completely derailed off track and, you know, end up in jail or, you know, end up completely dropping out of high school.
Yeah.
So it you know, yeah, that was some lonely times, I would say, but you know, at the end of the day, I always, especially when you came home, it was a little easier because my goal was to, like, okay, just make you feel better, because I watched you go through a lot of depression and a lot of just wanting to be alone. And it's like, yo, hey man, let's go to the mall, or, you know, let's go out, you know.
That's very true.
So it was always, to me, after a while, I didn't care about you was in a wheelchair. You were still my brother. We were still gonna hang. And as you know, the wheelchair almost became like, I mean, we were young, so you don't really know how to deal with these things, but it almost became cool. I remember the first time I took you out to the mall, a group of girls came up to you and asked you if you got shot, and you looked at them like they were crazy, but a part of you was like, yeah, I did get shot. Like, you know, so it's almost like we took the disability, and when we could have fun with it, we had fun with it. It was nothing taken lightly. It was very, very difficult. You know, I know for me, it not having you there, at going to school and continuing, you know, school. I still had to go through my regular life. I still had to go to school. You know, would come home after school. No one's home. Had to figure things out on my own. But I don't know. We overall had a good support system with family and friends, and God, of course. So it's nothing I look back on, and you know, I honestly, I don't even really think too much about But yeah, I mean, yeah, I was, you know, when you're a family of four and the youngest kid, you know, gets sick and is now paralyzed, that's a transition that will take a big toll on any family. But, you know, we overcame it. And, you know, I'm very proud of you because you never really quit. No matter what you dealt with, you always in your mind thought you were the man. Like, to me, I don't see a wheelchair. I just don't see a wheelchair. And sometimes a lot of people will say, oh my God, you got to have more sympathy for your brother. I was like, I have plenty of sympathy for my brother. I mean, that's my brother, but I still treat him like a man. And in the beginning, that was very difficult for you too, because, you know, we were kids. So you would still try to fight me, and, you know, we would bump heads. And, you know, it took some time to realize, like, oh, damn, my brother is really in the paralyzed now. So this is a different life. But, you know, looking back, I think we handle it now. I mean, look at you now. You went on, you got a college a degree, you played college ball. You know, you were pretty popular in high school. You know, I'll take a little credit with that.
Oh no, absolutely.
You know, I dressed you up every day.
That's true. A lot of people don't know that. That's a fact, because a lot of people don't know that. They thought I was the one dressing, but my head was so, I can't even explain it. It's almost like you can't even think straight. So I would wear clothes and I didn't even know how to dress. It's almost like I literally forgot how to dress. And you're like, dude, what are you wearing?
Yeah, you never knew.
I don't know about never. I got
that was funny.
That was funny. That's funny. But no, I don't know what was wrong with me. Like, I look back, I was like, wow, I could literally remember how he was teaching me how to cuff the jeans, you know, making sure my jeans were ironed on point, you know, the color combos. And
that was a big thing for us, to just be fresh, to go out. For me, like, just to go out, feel good, and just step out the house. Because, you know, being cooped up in the house was something that I was like, damn, this kid, all he wants to do is play 007. Or sometimes you would just be to yourself. You know, you would go days just not talking to nobody. You know, I would ask mom, like, what's wrong with him? She'd be like, I don't know. And it's like, you know, she was always there for you. So I'm like, damn, if she don't know what was going on with him, something must be really bad. So, you know, it was important for me to just, let's go. Like, it didn't matter where we were going, what we were doing. We made it happen, you know, and we didn't let nothing stop us. So I think you took that with you for life, you know. I mean, a lot of, if you do the numbers, I'm sure the percentage is low. I didn't even know there was wheelchair basketball until you really started playing. And, you know, wheelchair basketball is a whole different beast compared to regular basketball, because I tried to play it. And it's like, this ain't for me. You know, it's hard. You know, you got to dribble and push the chair, get back on defense. It's just, you know, it's a lot. So, you know, for you to continue on with, just continue like a normal person and try to have a normal life, you know, for me, looking back, it was a beautiful thing to be a part of and to see.
No, and I celebrate you for that, because, you know, as growing up, you know, at least when I mature, you know, partying and all that stuff is not my thing. But however, I would have to give you a lot of credit for just like getting me out, because even though I wouldn't say that would be the best way, but for you it was the best way, and it's almost like everybody does the best what they can do at that particular time. And I'm grateful for that because it's not about uh, perfection, you know, because a lot of the times, at least for me, I find myself like, man, you know, I say I could waste the time, you know, going to parties and going this, that, drinking, smoking, whatever, what have you. However, I have to appreciate that.
Smoking? You used to smoke, right? Oh,
You know, I never smoke like that, but well, you tell
snap.
me. You tell me. I never smoke like that. It's experimental. However, uh, going through that process, you realize, like, you know what? That's my story. That was my process. Not to say that I agree with those things. However, I wouldn't change those things because that was the path that I decided to go. And I said, like I said, I celebrate you for that, for getting me out the house. Because if I didn't get out the house, who knows? Things could have got worse because
I
depression
mean,
is very real.
there
Yeah.
there have been some people that I've met throughout the years. I remember this one girl that I used to date, and her brother was paralyzed. And I think this is probably the first time I realized, like, damn, uh, being paralyzed can be very depressing, because she admired our relationship, and the fact that we were so energetic and positive, because her brother, you know, was alcoholic, was drinking every day, wouldn't go out, and was pretty much throwing his life away. Um, you know, whenever you get injured or hurt, and you know, kind of got your back against the wall, the fight is, you know, you got to fight double time, you know, because look at me, I'm very healthy, but you know, I got to push myself to work out and eat healthy and just, you know, kind of do the right thing. So someone who's at a disadvantage, you got to push yourself 100 times more. And, you know, when you're not fully able, it's just that hard. And is that much harder, but it's also on the flip end, it's that much easier to kind of go the other route, you know, to sit in depression, you know, take drugs and all these other things. Like, I have a friend of mine who, you know, he got into a car accident, um, and his sister was like, yeah, if you could have your brother speak to my brother, because, you know, he got into this really bad car accident. He's paralyzed now. And, you know, he's just drinking every day. I mean, depression is alcoholism, addiction is a very serious thing, even now, right? I got friends that I talk to on a regular basis. They're like, look, I'm home. I'm drinking that glass of wine every day. It started with the wine for 1 week. This week has been whiskey every day. And then now I'm noticing I'm drinking more and more alcohol. I'm home now. You know, my wife might have lost her job. I may have lost my job, but I'm home and I'm drinking now every day. It's just that easy. So, but anyways, I think it was 2 years ago I bumped into him on Instagram. I don't know his Instagram from the top of my head.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's doing amazing things, to the point where he's inspiring me, you know? So, and I'm sure you've inspired, you inspire thousands of people. I've seen it. You inspired me, you pushed me, you know, to be better. Um, so that's something that, you know, you got to keep in mind. It's a beautiful thing to be positive and active and alive and healthy, for those who aren't as healthy as they want to be. But just your mind is very powerful. You know, to be able to inspire other people on a whole nother level. Because you roll down the street, you're just going from A to B in your mind, right? You're thinking about your own struggles, your own things, or you could be thinking about whatever, but someone looks up at you like, wow, that kid got out of bed today. I remember when you was working, I think at First Marblehead, was it? I forget where you had a job at.
I only had 2 jobs: First Marblehead and Tufts. So
Huh?
I had 2 jobs. That's all in my life: First Marblehead and Tufts Healthcare.
Okay, it was First Marblehead, which is for those that don't know, it's like a loan processing company. Um, I ain't gonna say no names, but you know, you were dating someone at the time who would just, you know, she would just be in your bed all day long. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm just telling how I see it.
Yeah.
And you would leave the house, go to work, go around, promote your business, do whatever, and just in one day do all these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even I used to compare myself to you sometimes. I'm like, damn, man, this kid is like, he's doing too much. And you may have, but the fact that you still had the mindset and the energy to push yourself. So there's people on the outside, people that you don't know, that just looking at you from afar, that appreciate you, and you know, take your energy and try to apply it to their own lives. So keep doing what you're doing, brother.
No. I appreciate that. Nah, in essence, like you said with the mind. So for me, like that's where my transition happened. You know, I built my relationship with God, and I took it really serious. And I realized that that's when it really got easier. And it's funny how life works. That you know, you're in service as well, because being a police officer is service, and it's a very uh, it's dangerous, man. It's a dangerous job. And so for you to put your life on the line every single day is something to uh, applaud, because it's like we all have different struggles. It just looks different. And sometimes we can uh, judge in a sense of like, man, you know, look at this person. They're going out, they're drinking, but we don't know what that person went through, and we don't know their story. You know, for someone like me, like it was actually helpful for me to get out the house. You bring me into the house. I could look at the positive. I got out the house. You know, the negative thing was it wasn't per se the best places. However, it got to a point where I was able to make my own decision and say, oh, you know what? I gotta go out, but maybe not in these environments. However, it was good for me to get out because I spoke to people, I learned about people, I connected with people, I grew as a person. And the same for you, I can say, who would have thought Alex would be a cop? Like, seriously? Like, I would never in a million years think you would be a police officer, and you're out there doing the same work I'm doing. It just looks different. You're in a police car talking to people every day, or in the community, especially during these times, you know, bridging the gap between the community and police. That's powerful. You know what I'm saying? And it's a blessing, but sometimes, you know, people on the outside looking in, we may not see that, or I probably don't see it, but I can see it now, you know, being older and mature. So
yeah, you call it I think you use the word was it transitioning, or you know, I don't know. For me, it's a part of growing up.
growth.
You know, we all have a past, you know, some better than others, whatever the case. But it comes to a point in your life, for me personally, you know, I don't really speak too much about my spirituality, but I am a very spiritual person. And, you know, when you respect yourself, I mean, to a full extent of when no one's looking, you know, and you making moves, doing whatever you're doing, and you can come home at night and be 100% comfortable with certain things and decisions that you make. To me, that's when I started saying, like, well, you know, okay, I'm not making that decision anymore. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. You just start moving differently. And one day I literally woke up and said, you know what? the respect for myself. I look at myself differently now. You know, I don't need to be out here dating, you know, Felicia and, you know, whatever other names we could come up with, Brenda and Tasha and, you know, so that, yeah, I would say that changed my life and the way I looked at life in general. And I'd have to say that happened about, for me personally, probably about 6 years ago. You know, and yeah, but, you know, life has been pretty different ever since. But, you know, you always have things carry on. So, for example, I got a reputation, right? Yo, Alex, Mr. Turn Up King, Mr. Party Animal, but I don't really go out like that. You know, I may hang out once in a while now, but, you know, this is definitely not like how it used to be for me. But best and believe when, you know, people see me or whatever, those are the things that they think about. I always like to use the term perception versus reality.
That's a
You
good
know, so what people think and how they feel about me, you know, it is what it is. But I just try to live my life a certain way, and, you know, I just do the right thing no matter what. You know, that's a big cop or no cop. That's always been a big thing for me, is integrity, and just being honest, more so with yourself, because at the end of the day, it's you and God. So when you guys had that conversation, you know, you just want to be truthful. So that's just how I move, and that's just me.
No, I love it, man. That's good. That's good. I love it, man. Um, so what you got going on now? So where would you say, Alex, where would you like to see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years, just being a great husband and a great father. You know, I'm currently transitioning to this entrepreneurship life, entrepreneurial life. I hope I said that right, which is different. But you know, being a great husband, great father, those are the things that's important to me. Raising a family, you know, and, you know, just continue to give back to my community, and, you know, it's all about the dollar too. So making some bucks, continue making the bucks, continue living with purpose. And, you know,
You know, you're definitely giving back to the community. That's what I was being said. You're definitely a staple in the community.
but I really want to put myself in a position to help people. Um, you know, I've been through it. I've been through it all. You know, financially. Um, you know, I've been jobless before. I remember when I first moved to Atlanta. A lot of people don't know this. You know, I had to move back home. You know, I pretty much ran out of money. Um, so if I can just have a platform to just help people, I don't know how it's gonna look, but just to help people, just be honest with themselves, because that's the number one step, right? So as you know, I love to help people with credit, right?
Yeah.
I've helped a good number of people because I used to have, I used to be irresponsible financially. And to the point, even when I stopped being irresponsible, you know, you still have what you created. So, which was for me at the time, like a bad credit report.
Mm.
So you know, you ignore it. I mean, for years, I'm talking like 10 plus years, never pulled my credit report, never looked at my finances. A couple of years ago, I decided, like, look, I can't, I got to make moves. There's things that I want to do. And that was the biggest step. That took a lot for me to just be honest with myself and like, okay, this is what I'm facing with, and come up with a plan. So a lot of people that I talk to now, that's the thing that they face with. The hardest thing is like, damn, like I don't want to pull up my credit report, man. I know it's bad. All right, you got to figure out how bad. And a lot of the times, it's really not that bad. It's nothing. We live in a country where Donald Trump is president of the United States. 15 years ago, you would have said, pardon my French, but you would have been like, actually, I won't swear on your show. I know you're a proud Christian man. But you would have said, F that, right? No way. No effing way. But, I mean, you turn on your TV now, we got to listen to him speak just about every day and just tell us lies. But to my point, anything is possible. Any dreams that you may have, anything you want to accomplish, it can be done. Nowadays, you don't need a degree to get the job that you want. You don't need, to have certain amount of money in your bank account to get things done. There's loopholes, there's ways around everything. So
I'm so glad that you said that, because being vulnerable is super, super powerful. And I'm glad that you mentioned that at one point in your life you were irresponsible, but now you're taking responsibility for your actions, and you definitely are growing. I could attest to that. You're definitely growing. So what would you say, if you could put it in 1 to 3 steps for somebody to say, what do I need to do to take the next step? What would those 3 steps be? And what were the steps you took? Let's just say, so for me, I would say, number 1, well, I'll just say the first one, and then maybe you can add on to it. So number 1 will be self-awareness, like you mentioned. So what were the other 2 steps you would say? Like for me,
well, for me, that's the big one. So how that looks, just looking in the mirror and being honest with yourself. Number 2 would be action. You got to take, and it could be, I don't care, baby steps. If you're overweight and you don't want to admit that you're overweight, you finally look in the mirror or step on that scale and you say to yourself, you know what, I got to start exercising and start doing this, start doing that. So actually before action, it would be planning. To plan, then action.
Okay.
So those would be the 3.
Because
you gotta have a way. You gotta know which route that you're taking. And a lot of people, sometimes they just don't know. And YouTube's my best friend. YouTube, Google. You don't understand something, Google it, YouTube it. I promise you, YouTube has made me into one of the greatest chefs that there is. Like, telling you, I can cook my butt off. I don't do a lot of cooking here, but when I have to, that's what I rely on is YouTube. So
no, that's good. So so what's your favorite dish? What's your favorite food that you like to cook? Since you said you like to cook.
Well, my favorite dish is any dish my fiance is cooking for me, because I love when she cooks for me. I really appreciate every single meal that she makes for me. As far as me, when I cook, I like to cook chicken. I cook a lot of chicken when I do cook. Baked chicken, baked wings, buffalo wings.
Oh yeah. Those are really good. Those are really good. So one of the last questions would be, if you would give some advice to somebody that is a sibling of somebody with a disability that feels like they're in the dark, what would you tell that person?
Never give up. You don't give up on people. And sometimes there were times where you were going through it and you just didn't want to talk to nobody. So I just didn't talk to you. You know, 1 day would pass, 2 days would pass, 3 days would pass. Like, okay, this kid is going through something. So I would give you your space. I would, you know, at some point, you're going to come around. You know, I would try to check in and, you know, I would do different things. But, you know, when you're dealing with someone with a disability, people are different, right? So there's not one piece of advice that I could give someone that, you know, the one, I don't think I have the correct answer, right? Because, you know, everyone goes through things differently. Everyone handles things differently. You know, someone may take you not speaking to them because you're depressed as disrespectful, right? You know, but the one piece I would get, a piece of advice I would get, just be patient, be compassionate. Yeah, patience and be compassionate. There's no real answer. I don't really know how to answer that question because that is hard, as you know. You know, even if you know how long has it been since you've been in a wheelchair?
22 years.
22 years. So if I got paralyzed today, you know, knock on wood, but, you know, there's not one thing you could tell me how to deal with it. You know, you may try to build a relationship with me, but for you to just give me and say, oh, you know, yeah, you're gonna go through this, you're gonna have to kind of go through it with that person if you want to be there for the person, you know, and everyone handles it differently. That means even through the dark times you're there, right? So, and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes I say that, but, you know, I see a lot being a police officer. That's not always true for everybody, but do I believe that it's true? To a certain extent. You know, but that's where hope comes into play. So anybody out there listening, you know, you got a family member or a friend who, you know, for whatever reason is dealing with any type of disability, call them up, check on them, hang out with them. For me, I didn't look at you and see a disability. I just would look at you and see my brother. So you know, I've never treated you differently. It was always like, okay, right. You know,
Right.
people would, you know, people would come up to me and be like, yo, you know, I don't know whether we get into an argument or something. You're mean to your brother, or like, yo, my brother's still a man at the end of the day. Like, you know?
Absolutely.
And I mean, you know, it is what it is. So you take your situation. Okay.
So like you were saying, Alex, in reality, there's not much to say but being there for the person. Well, I like to say, man, I love you, good brother, and you have been there for me through the process. Even though I might have, you know, rejected you indirectly or directly, or pretty much the whole family, with my attitude and certain things that I probably wouldn't be proud of. So I even apologize for that, of how my behavior was, because I do have.
I'll accept that apology because
I do apologize.
I'll accept it for my mother as well.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right.
The worst of it, but you know, in life, we, like I said, we grow. At some point, you gotta stop and look at yourself, and you gotta grow up. You know, some people, unfortunately, they don't, and it all boils down to self-respect. And yeah, you know, because you have, you know, have you had a bad attitude or looked at things a certain way? Yes, but you know, you grow up, you live, you learn, and you know, your ideas, your perspective on life changes, and you grow up, and you treat everybody with respect. That's what it's all about, and you move on. So we're all in a good space. Everybody's good. Everybody's healthy, happy.
Yes.
So at this point in time, what's today's date? The 25th of March. We can only hope for the best.
Absolutely.
There's a lot going on in the world today. This disease, this virus is handicapping all of us right now, because everybody's stuck at home and can't move. People unfortunately are dying. I got friends of mine who have people who are either can't work, or there's someone else who's sick. So the world, I know you're a praying man, so the world right now just needs prayer and a lot of hope and patience. It's all about patience. So
no, absolutely. Prayer is definitely the number one thing that we should do. The Bible talks about that, never cease praying. Due to the fact, to break that down, is because our words have power, and we either can speak life or death. So we speak life. Absolutely.
So let me ask you a question real quick. I know this is the Ray Grant show, but
it's good. It's
might
good.
have to call it the AG takeover. So growing up and being in the position, or dealing with the cards that you had to deal with, what are ways that you would tell people around you, or what advice would you give them to help you deal with it better, or shine more light on certain things, so you could have dealt with less darker days?
Absolutely. Number one thing I would say, even though I'm a Christian man now, one thing that I really didn't like was the putting God, like hammering the Bible on me, like telling me what to do. Oh, read the Bible. Let's go to church. Let's go to church. I didn't like that at that young age, because I didn't really understand, the relationship with God. And also I didn't see the God in certain people that were telling me to go to church and pray to God. So the thing that I created was GPA, which is gratitude. Focus on the things I do have. So somebody say, if I was paralyzed, focus to be grateful for my hands, and just really be focused on that and be thankful of the things I have. So for me, I write daily. I do my best daily to write 5 things that I'm grateful for. And with that, my mind begins to grasp on the things I'm grateful for, and I have a different perspective. Like for me, my wheelchair is my teacher. What is this lesson teaching me? And once I could think about that, it's teaching me a lesson. So therefore, boom, it puts me in a learning mode to learn. And once I begin to learn, I get to be better. Once now I go back to attitude. Once I'm better, I have a better attitude. Once my attitude is better, guess what? I'm rising up to a different altitude. I'm going up in my life, in my things that I do in life. So I like to call it GPA, gratitude, perspective, and attitude. That's what I help people in life coaching, and also in my speeches and telling my story, that be grateful, because the gift that God has given you, all of us, is life. If we can focus on that and have that right perspective, our attitude will follow suit. That answer your question?
Yeah, for the most part, I'll take that answer. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. What do you say, GPA? Your attitude does control your altitude. Because if you have the right attitude, you go into certain situations, just like you walk into an interview, that's what's going to get you the job. You walk into church with a good attitude, you're gonna leave with the word, a good word.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you tie your sneakers up, get ready for that basketball game. You know, you definitely got to go in with that winning attitude. So I love that attitude, altitude. I like that. So I mean, I
Alex,
love talking about.
yeah,
I'm
so
sorry. Go ahead.
that's good. So Alex, if anybody would want some knowledge or information about credit, how would they contact you? Go about contacting you?
My IG is AG the number 4 U. Is it the letter U? Is it the letter U or Y or U? I can't remember off the
That's your
top of my
IG.
head. Huh?
That's your IG. I don't know, but it's you. It's you. Yeah, it's you.
Yeah, YOU. AGYOU. That's my Instagram. You can either DM me. I won't leave my number on here. But yeah, DM me. I love providing people with information in reference to credit repair, restoration, credit restoration, whatever it is. I myself, you can either go to my website as well. I do have a website, www.gscreditrepair.com. But yeah, the quickest way to get to me is my DM. It's a whole nother podcast. You do need to bring me back on. We could talk some financial literacy, some credit jewels.
Absolutely.
That's something that's very important too, because, you were young when you got sick and paralyzed, right? But imagine if you're our age now and you get into a freak accident and your world's destroyed, right? Not just your world, your job, and everything. That's including finances. So a lot of people, they go through it. They don't talk about it, but they go through it.
Yes, yes.
A lot of us are broke. We ain't got it. See the Benz on the Instagram and the nice big house, but a lot of people are out here fronting. So finances is something that I love to talk about, love to learn about, especially credit. But now I'm kind of trying to learn the stock market game, because right now might not be a bad time to just make some investments while we're dealing with this coronavirus. But that's a whole other topic as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, keep doing your thing, Ray. Your show. I listen when I can. I've referred a few people to you that I think that should be on here. You're doing your thing. Your interviews are great. You're great. So,
I appreciate it, brother. I love you. It was a pleasure.
You didn't sing today, though. I like when you sing a little bit on your show. Not too much, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Now, it's definitely been a pleasure. Like I said, I believe this interview is one of my best interviews because it's personal, and I'm confident that a lot of people can draw from it and learn from it and grow from it. And I thank everybody who's listening. I thank you for coming onto the show and being open and transparent and dropping those jewels. And this is the Ray Grand Show. Till next time, love you guys.
Ray Grand.
Thanks for listening. If you like something that you heard, please leave a review. Oh, one more thing.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
Love y'all.
Thanks for listening. If you like something that you heard, please leave a review. Oh, one more thing.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
Love y'all.